Most people online make landlording sound so easy. Buy a few houses, collect rent, build passive income, retire wealthy. What they don't show you are the midnight phone calls, the destroyed houses, the fake sob stories, the bad contractors, the incompetent property managers, and the expensive lessons that can wipe out years of profits. Over the years, I've bought and managed hundreds of properties in one form or another. Some deals were great, some were disasters. A few lessons cost me thousands of dollars before I finally figured things out. This guide isn't theory from someone who had read a few real estate books. These are real mistakes I personally made during my landlord journey, and the systems I eventually built to stop making them. If you're thinking getting into rentals or already own a few properties, my goal is simple. Help you avoid the expensive mistakes I already paid for. These lessons came from years of owning and managing real-world rentals, not classroom theory. Mistake number 1, assuming property managers automatically solve problems. Not hiring a good property manager early on, I tried to self-manage my first few properties to save the management fee and failed miserably. I finally realized it was worth every penny of the fees. Then I discovered the hard way that not all property managers are created equal. I quickly learned that property managers vary from excellent to completely incompetent. Some would charge outrageous repair fees, while others wouldn't keep tabs on the tenants. One PM called me one day to say one of my rentals had burned to the ground, and they wondered why the tenant hadn't paid in a couple months. All I thought was, wow, since my first protocol was to file eviction if the rent wasn't paid by the 21st, which they clearly didn't do. Then the city or the fire department didn't contact us or the PM to let us know there had been a fire. One of the PM's employees just happened to drive by the home to see a pile of debris. That was the moment I realized nobody would ever care about my properties as much as I did. After a few years of dealing with this type of incompetence, impossible to read monthly statements that never matched what the deposits to our account were, and just overall disappointment, we finally slowly transitioned our portfolio to self-management. Now, just to be clear, not all PMs are bad. I did run across 2 or 3 honest and good managers during all this, but they are rare. Mistake number 2, weak tenant screening. Once we took over the day-to-day management, it wasn't as easy as I thought. First, not doing a thorough background check. This sounds like a no-brainer, but early in my landlord journey, I was way too complacent when it came to screening. Today, we screen every applicant thoroughly. A bad tenant can easily cost more than several months of vacancy. Mistake number 3, letting emotions override business decisions. Being a mild temperament personality, I would find myself falling for the tenants' sob stories and try to work with them by giving them extra time so they could get caught up. More often than not, giving me extra time only made the situation worse and increased the eventual balance owed. The hardest part of landlording usually isn't the property, it's learning how to make business decisions without letting emotions override judgment. I'd say this cost me at least $50,000 over the course of several years. Mistake number 4, avoiding regular inspections. Another thing I struggle with, even still to this day, is a biannual checkup on the units. I tell the tenant I will be stopping by to check the smoke detectors and for any leaks under the sink, which is true, but I'm also checking out the condition of the unit so I can address any issues before they turn into a $10,000 rehab once they move out. Mistake number 5, using weak leases. Not having a rock-solid lease is another big mistake. I ran across a few professional tenants that knew how to work the system, and it cost me several extra thousands of dollars to finally get them out, just to find out they destroyed the place in a few months. I quickly learned to contact a local attorney who happened to be a landlord himself and was a member of the local RIA group. I took him a couple examples of leases from some of the former PMs as a starting point, and he changed those into a 25-page rock-solid lease that covers everything, including annual rent and property tax increases. It's crucial that you go with a local attorney that is familiar with the tenant laws for your state. Do not use some generic online template that you pay $20 for. I had a close colleague lose everything because they went that route. That's a story for another day. Mistake number 6, operating without systems and boundaries. Early on, we didn't have strict systems and boundaries, and some tenants would abuse this. Now with our current rules and processes, the biggest change was when I told the tenants that I'm just the property manager or the realtor for the landlord, which both are true. This disconnect gave me the power to say no and to blame the landlord, to get around caving into their sad stories and blame the owner or the landlord instead. This was a total game changer for me. We have a Google Voice number that is the office text number that tenants use as a portal to communicate to the office. This process works great. In addition, we are very strict on our due dates and late fees. Rent is due on the 1st and late on the 2nd, no exceptions. A 5% late fee is added on the 2nd and another 10% on the 15th. If still no payment is received by the 21st of the month, eviction is filed. We also added a habitual late payment clause to our lease, stating that if the tenant has 3 late payments during their lease term, which is usually 2 years, they are in violation of their lease and will be evicted. Mistake number 7, thinking rentals are passive income. Don't make the mistake of thinking rentals are a set and forget passive printing press. They still take management, being able to say no, and still dealing with costly messes on occasion. Today, after more than a decade of self-managing, our systems are strong, turnover is low, and the portfolio only requires a few hours a month to maintain. But it didn't start that way. Rentals can absolutely create long-term wealth and freedom. They did for us, but they are not passive in the beginning. The landlords who struggle usually aren't the ones who bought the wrong property. They're the ones who never built strong systems. If you found this information helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate it.